In the far corner of the galaxy, there was a great academy where young aliens studied about many species. Among them was a curious girl named Lyra. She belonged to a race known for their sharp minds and glowing blue skin, unlike her classmates, who focused only on science and war strategy. Lyra had a strange habit. She loved listening to rumors, and today, one rumor refused to leave her mind. The whisper had spread across the academy halls like wildfire. Have you heard about the humans? Their males are so. Milky, one alien giggled. Another leaned closer and whispered, yes, they carry some kind of strange nectar. It is unlike anything we have ever known. Lyra's pointed ears twitched. Her heart raced. What could this mean? She had studied humans before. She knew they were strong, emotional, and full of surprises. But Milky? That word felt strange. What secret were the humans hiding? She sat by the window that looked down at the training grounds. There, a group of humans were sparring, their movements fast and powerful. One of them, a tall male with dark hair, caught her attention. He was not like the others. There was something calm and mysterious in his eyes. Lyra leaned forward, her curiosity growing stronger. Her friend Zara, another alien girl, noticed her stare and laughed softly. Don't tell me you believe those silly rumors, Lyra, she said. Lyra shook her head. Rumors are born from truth, Zara. If there is even a small chance that humans carry such a secret, I want to know. Zara sighed. You always search for mysteries. One day it will bring you trouble. But Lyra only smiled. Trouble never scared her. The day passed slowly. But Lyra's thoughts did not rest. Every time she saw the human male train, she wondered, did he know what others whispered about his kind? Was he hiding the truth? Or was he just another ordinary soldier? Her mind buzzed with questions, but only one answer existed. She had to get close to him. That night, in the quiet of her chamber, she lay awake, staring at the glowing ceiling. She remembered the way humans looked when they laughed, the way their eyes carried warmth. In her culture, emotions were hidden, but humans wore their hearts openly, and now this strange rumor about their bodies made them even more mysterious. She whispered to herself, what makes them so different from us? What makes them Milky? The next morning, she walked through the academy corridors with determination. She had made up her mind. She would approach the human male, no matter what others thought, no matter how dangerous it might be. She needed to know the truth, but as she turned the corner, she stopped. The human was already there, leaning against the wall, as if he had been waiting. His eyes met hers, steady and calm. For a moment, Lyra froze, her throat dry. Was this fate? Or had he noticed her watching him the entire time? The human tilted his head, a small smile appearing on his lips. You've been staring a lot, he said softly. His voice steady but curious. Lyra's heart skipped a beat. How could he sound so calm while she felt so nervous? She tried to speak, her voice trembling. I only wanted to learn more about you. The human raised an eyebrow. About me? Or about humans in general? His words cut deep, as if he could already sense her curiosity. Lyra swallowed hard, but then forced herself to nod. Yes, about humans, she admitted. I want to understand what makes you different. The hallway grew quiet. Only the distant hum of the academy engines could be heard. The human's eyes narrowed slightly, then he chuckled. You're not the first alien to wonder, he said. But curiosity can be dangerous. Lyra felt a chill down her spine. His words were calm but carried a warning. Yet instead of fear, her excitement grew. This was it, the beginning of the mystery, the rumor, the secret, the whispers. They all led her here. And now, face to face with a human male, she felt the weight of destiny pressing against her. She could not stop now, not when she was so close. As he stepped past her, brushing lightly against her shoulder, he whispered, "Be careful what you wish to discover, Lyra. Some truths cannot be forgotten." Her eyes widened, her heart raced. What did he mean? Did he know the secret? Her hands clenched into fists. One thing was clear. The humans were hiding something, and she was determined to uncover it, and so the story began. With a girl's curiosity and a secret too strange to ignore, the galaxy would soon learn that humans were far more mysterious than anyone believed, and Lyra would be the first to step into the truth. The next day arrived with the academy buzzing with activity. Cadets from many worlds filled the training grounds, their voices mixing into a storm of languages, yet Lyra barely noticed them. Her mind was locked on one face, the human male who had caught her curiosity, the one who whispered warnings yet left her with more questions than answers. His name, she learned, was Daniel. He was not a high-ranking soldier nor a famous warrior, but there was something about him that stood apart. The way he carried himself, calm but confident, made of his glance his way without even knowing why. Lyra had seen hundreds of species, each with strange features and habits, but Daniel felt different, almost human, and yet more. She moved closer to the sparring circle where Daniel was training with another human. His movements were sharp, quick, and powerful, but there was grace in them too. She studied him carefully, the way his muscles tensed, the way his body reacted. Every strike seemed to hold more than strength. It held control, discipline, and something raw, something untamed. When the match ended, Daniel noticed her again. He stepped away from the crowd, wiping sweat from his forehead. His eyes locking on hers, Lyra's chest tightened, her blue skin glowing faintly under her robes. For a moment, neither spoke. The silence between them louder than the voices around. Finally, Daniel broke it. "You again," he said, his tone half amused, half curious. "You watch too much, alien girl." Lyra forced herself to steady her voice. "And you notice too much, human boy." The corner of his lips curved into a small smile, a smile that made her heart beat faster. She took a step closer, her curiosity stronger than her fear. "I want to ask you something," she said, her voice low but firm. Daniel tilted his head. "Ask." Lyra hesitated, then shook her head. "Not here. Too many eyes." She glanced around. Other cadets were already whispering, watching the two of them. An alien girl and a human boy. It was unusual. It was strange. And in the academy, strange things spread like fire. Daniel studied her for a moment, then nodded slowly. "Fine. Meet me at the edge of the gardens after lights out," he said. Lyra felt a rush of energy. The mystery was opening before her, but with it came a whisper of danger, a reminder of his words. Some truths cannot be forgotten. That night, the academy fell silent under the glow of distant stars. The gardens were quiet, filled with tall, silver trees and glowing flowers that shifted colors under the moons. Lyra waited near the fountain, her hands restless, her heart thundering in her chest. When Daniel arrived, he moved with ease, like the night itself welcomed him. "You came," she said, more to calm herself than to greet him. Daniel shrugged. "You asked." He sat on the edge of the fountain, his gaze steady. "So, alien girl, what is it that burns in your mind?" Lyra clenched her fists. This was her moment. She leaned forward, her voice a whisper. "The rumors. About humans, about your males. Is it true?" Daniel blinked, then chuckled softly. "So that's it. The whispers reached your ears too." Her face burned, but she did not look away. "Yes," she said firmly, "and I want to know if they are true." Daniel's smile faded, replaced with something heavier, something serious. "Curiosity can be dangerous, Lyra," he said, his voice low. "Humans. We are different, yes, but difference is not always meant to be shared so easily." Lyra's heart pounded, but she refused to step back. "If I ask, will you show me?" she demanded, her voice trembling but strong. For a long moment, Daniel said nothing. The fountain's water was the only sound. Then he leaned closer, his eyes locking into hers. "You want to know the truth," he whispered. "But the truth changes everything." Lyra felt her breath catch. "What truth?" she whispered back. Daniel leaned back, his gaze moving toward the glowing flowers. "When my kind was first studied by your scientists, they thought we were simple, weak, even fragile," he said. "But humans endure. We adapt, and inside us there are things your kind cannot fully explain." He paused, then looked at her again. "That is why they call us Milky, why they speak of Nectar, because they do not understand what they see." Lyra's mind spun, his words carried weight. But no clear answers, only more questions. Yet there was a strange thrill in his voice, as if he was guarding something sacred, something powerful. She stepped closer, her eyes burning with determination. "Then let me be the first to understand," she said. Her voice shook, but her resolve was unbreakable. Daniel studied her for a long time, his expression unreadable. Finally, he sighed and rose to his feet. "Very well, Lyra," he said. "But remember this, once you see you cannot unsee, and once you know, you cannot forget." The night air grew heavy, as if the stars themselves leaned closer to listen. Lyra's pulse raced, her curiosity at its peak. This was no longer just about rumors. It was about truth, about secrets hidden between species. And she knew one thing for certain: her life was about to change forever. The academy seemed quieter the next morning, but for Lyra, the world felt louder than ever. Her thoughts kept circling back to the night in the garden, to Daniel's steady voice and his warning. She could not forget his words: "Once you see, you cannot unsee. Once you know, you cannot forget." It was not just a rumor anymore. It was a truth hiding in plain sight. And she had placed herself at the edge of it. As she walked through the training grounds, her eyes kept searching for him. When she finally found Daniel, he was standing near the weapons racks, adjusting his gear. The sight of him made her heart race, though she tried to keep her face calm. He looked up and caught her staring again, that faint smile tugging at his lips. "Still curious?" he asked, his voice low but clear. Lyra lifted her chin. "Curiosity is the beginning of knowledge," she answered. Daniel gave a quiet chuckle. "Or the beginning of trouble." Later that evening, when the corridors were empty and the halls silent, Daniel sent her a signal, a simple nod, a gesture toward the far-off chamber where unused equipment was stored. Lyra followed, her steps light, her nerves burning. The chamber doors closed behind them with a soft hiss, sealing the two. Inside, the air was thick, carrying the faint scent of oil and steel. Shadows stretched across the walls, and only a dim blue light glowed from the ceiling. Daniel leaned against a crate, arms crossed, his expression unreadable. "So, alien girl," he said, "you wanted to know the truth." Lyra swallowed, her throat dry. "Yes," she whispered. "Show me." Her voice trembled, but her eyes did not waver. She had come this far. She would not turn back. Daniel studied her for a long time, his silence heavier than words. Then, with slow movements, he stepped closer. His presence was strong, almost overwhelming, and Lyra felt her pulse quicken. "You have to understand," he said. "Humans are not like your kind. What we carry inside us is more than just biology. It is history, survival, adaptation." Lyra's glowing eyes widened. "And the nectar? The milky truth everyone whispers about?" Daniel gave a small, almost reluctant smile. "That part, you'll have to see for yourself." Her breath caught. She felt both fear and excitement clash inside her chest. She stepped closer, her fingers brushing the edge of his sleeve. No alien had ever dared come this close to a human male before. Not in such a personal way. Daniel did not pull away. He only watched her with that calm, steady gaze. "You're not afraid?" he asked. Lyra shook her head, though her heart thundered. Fear is nothing compared to curiosity. A moment passed, heavy with silence. Before Daniel finally moved, he raised his hand and rested it over his chest. "Our secret is not just in what you seek, Lyra. It is in all of us. It is what makes humans impossible to break." Lyra tilted her head, her eyes sharp. "Then let me witness it." Her voice was a whisper, but in the silent chamber it echoed like thunder. Daniel sighed, then gave a slow nod. "Very well. But remember what I said. Truth changes everything." He motioned her closer, and Lyra stepped into the narrow space between the crates, standing so near she could hear the rhythm of his breath. The scent of him was strange, warm, different from her kind. She tried to steady her shaking hands, her glowing skin betraying her excitement. Daniel reached for a flask of water nearby, took a sip, then passed it to her. "Here," he said. "Taste this." Lyra frowned but accepted. The water felt ordinary, cool and plain. "Just water," she said, confused. Daniel smirked. "Yes. But humans turn even the ordinary into something extraordinary. What you call nectar is part of us, not something we carry, but something we create." Lyra blinked, her mind racing. She was close, so close to the truth. Her curiosity burned like fire, and she whispered again, "Then prove it, Daniel." Her voice carried both challenge and plea. Daniel leaned forward, his eyes locked on hers, his tone a whisper that sent shivers through her spine. "You want proof, Lyra? Then tomorrow night, meet me again, away from the academy walls. Under the stars, no eyes, no whispers, only the truth." Her breath caught, her body tense. Tomorrow, the word rang in her mind like a bell. She nodded slowly, her glowing skin brightening in the dim chamber. "I'll be there," she said firmly. Daniel stepped back, his face unreadable again. "Good," he said. "But once you see the academy, your people, even you, none of it will feel the same again." Lyra shivered, not from fear, but from the weight of destiny pressing down on her shoulders. This was no longer just a rumor, no longer just curiosity. She was standing at the door of a secret that could change her, change everything. As she left the chamber and stepped into the dark corridor, the silence of the academy wrapped around her, but inside, her mind was roaring. Her heart was racing. The test had begun, and tomorrow, under the stars, she would finally discover the truth hidden within the humans. And she knew, with every beat of her heart, that nothing in her life would ever be the same again. The night sky stretched wide above the academy, filled with silver stars and the glow of two pale moons. Lyra moved quickly through the silent gardens, her robe brushing against the glowing plants, her heart beating faster with every step. She had agreed to meet Daniel beyond the academy walls, far from curious eyes and whispering voices. Her curiosity burned brighter than fear, pulling her forward into the unknown. The academy gates loomed ahead, guarded by tall alien sentries. But Lyra knew the secret path through the lower tunnels. Her people were not known for breaking rules, but tonight, rules no longer mattered. She slipped through shadows, her glowing skin dimmed with a control crystal to avoid notice. Her mind repeated his words, "Once you see, you cannot unsee." At the edge of the forest that circled the academy, Daniel waited, his figure calm, steady against the tall silver trees. When he saw her, he gave a small nod, his human eyes catching the moonlight. "You came," he said softly. Lyra's voice was firm, though her heart trembled. "I said I would." He motioned for her to follow. And together they walked deeper into the forest. The air was cool, carrying the scent of earth and glowing flowers. The silence between them was heavy, but not uncomfortable. Finally, after some time, they reached a clearing where the stars poured down like a river of light. Daniel turned to her, his expression serious. "This is far enough," he said. "No one will find us here." Lyra nodded, her glowing eyes fixed on him. "Then show me," she whispered, her voice sharp with anticipation. Daniel took a slow breath, his hand brushing across his chest as though steadying himself. "You must understand," he said. "To us humans, this is natural. Ordinary even. But to others, it seems strange, maybe even shocking." Lyra tilted her head. "That is what makes it important. Show me, Daniel. Let me see with my own eyes." He gave a small smile, almost sad, but then nodded. "Very well," he said, his tone calm yet heavy. He stepped closer, his presence filling the clearing, his voice low. "Our bodies carry strength, warmth, and something your kind has never known. We carry life in a way that even the strongest aliens do not." Lyra's breath caught as Daniel reached for a small pack at his side. He opened it and pulled out a nutrient flask. Her eyes narrowed, confused. "That is only food," she said. Daniel shook his head. Not food, not for you. This is the result of what your people call the nectar, something our bodies create, something that nourishes, something that protects. He poured a small amount into a clear vial, holding it. Under the moonlight, the liquid glowed faintly, pale and smooth like light made physical. Lyra gasped, her glowing eyes widening. By the stars! It is true. Her voice trembled with both awe and disbelief. It is real. It is truly Milky. Daniel's lips curved into a faint smile. You finally see, he said softly. To us, it is part of life, but to your kind, it is a wonder. A mystery you cannot explain. Lyra stepped closer, unable to look away. Her hands shook as she reached out to touch the vial. The liquid shimmered, alive in its own way. Her heart thundered in her chest. The rumors were not just whispers. They were truth. This is what makes humans different, she whispered. Daniel nodded slowly. Yes, but it is more than biology, Lyra. It is a symbol of what we are, of how we survive, of how we give even when we have little. It is why we are impossible to destroy. Her glowing skin brightened, her mind swirling with thoughts. All her life, she had studied alien species, their strengths, their weaknesses. But here stood a human, offering proof that strength was not just power, but something deeper, something hidden inside. She felt her chest tighten with awe and something else, respect. Daniel watched her closely, his expression unreadable. You wanted the truth. Now you have it, he said. Lyra's voice was a whisper. It changes everything. Her words carried both fear and wonder. She knew that if others learned of this, it would shake the galaxy. It would shift the balance of power. Suddenly, the sound of snapping branches broke the silence. Lyra spun around, her heart racing. From the shadows, a group of cadets appeared, aliens from other races who had followed them, their eyes glowing with greed and curiosity. So the rumors are true, one of them hissed. Humans do carry nectar, another sneered. If this is real, then humans are more valuable than we thought. Daniel stepped in front of Lyra, his body tense, his voice sharp. This was not for you, he warned. This was for her alone. But the cadets laughed, their hunger for secrets stronger than their fear. Lyra felt panic rise. The discovery was no longer safe. The truth was no longer theirs alone. Her glowing hands clenched, her voice firm. You will not take this from him, she said, stepping beside Daniel. Her courage surprised even herself, but she could not let others twist what she had just learned. Daniel's steady hand rested briefly on her shoulder, his eyes never leaving the intruders. You see now, Lyra, he whispered. Knowledge always comes with a price. The clearing grew tense, the stars watching silently above. The truth had been revealed, but instead of peace, it brought danger. And Lyra knew this was only the beginning, for now that she had seen the human secret, the galaxy would not rest until it claimed it too. The secret was no longer safe. What was once a quiet discovery under the stars now burned like fire through the academy. By the next morning, whispers echoed in every hall, from every corner, from every mouth. The rumor is true, they said. Humans carry nectar. The humans are Milky. Lyra walked through the corridors with her head high, but inside, her heart trembled. She had wanted the truth for herself. But now the truth was spreading like smoke, twisting into something dangerous. Everywhere she looked, alien cadets glanced at the humans differently, some with curiosity, some with envy, and some with fear. The academy, once a place of learning, now felt like a cage filled with hungry eyes. Daniel walked beside her, calm as always. Though she could see the sharpness in his gaze, he noticed everything. The stares, the whispers, the way groups formed in corners to plot and gossip. Yet he did not falter, his step steady, his voice quiet. I told you, Lyra, once the truth is seen, it cannot be forgotten. Lyra clenched her fists, guilt weighing heavy on her chest. It was not supposed to be like this, she whispered. I only wanted to know, not to expose you. Daniel glanced at her, his expression unreadable. You did not betray me, Lyra. The galaxy betrays itself with its greed. That day, the Council of Mentors summoned them both. Alien leaders sat in a high chamber, their faces grave, their voices sharp. One mentor leaned forward, his scaled hands gripping the table. "Human," he said coldly. "Is it true? Do you carry what the others call nectar?" Daniel's jaw tightened, but he did not answer immediately. Instead, he said calmly, "And if we do, what would you do with such knowledge?" The chamber filled with restless murmurs. Some mentors hissed with anger, others whispered with wonder. Lyra felt their gazes like fire on her skin. She knew this was not just curiosity anymore, it was politics. It was power. Another mentor slammed her clawed hand on the table. "If it is true, humans could become too valuable, too dangerous. We must control this before it spreads further." Lyra stepped forward, her voice trembling but firm. "Control? You speak as if humans are property, not people," she cried. Her words silenced the chamber for a moment, but then the arguments grew louder. Some demanded research, others demanded restriction, some even whispered of capturing the humans too. "Harvest the secret," Daniel's voice cut through the chaos, calm but strong. "You see a mystery, and you see power, but you do not see us. Humans are not your tools, not your resources. We are more than what flows in our bodies." His eyes met Lyra's, steady, unshaken, and for the first time, she felt the weight of his kind's unbreakable spirit. Outside the chamber, the academy was already divided. Some cadets laughed at the humans, mocking them. Others admired them, following them, asking endless questions. But there were also those who feared them, whispering that such a secret made humans too dangerous to keep alive. Lyra watched as a group of reptilian cadets cornered a young human in the training hall. Their eyes glowed with cruel amusement. "Show us your nectar," one of them demanded, sneering. The human clenched his fists, standing tall. "I don't owe you anything." The aliens hissed and lunged forward. But before they could strike, Daniel appeared. His hand caught one by the arm, his voice cold. "Enough." The reptilian cadet hissed in his face. "You think you're special, human? You're nothing but a container for your strange milk." Daniel's fist tightened. But he did not strike. Instead, he pushed the cadet back and spoke with calm authority. "Mock what you don't understand. Fear what you cannot control. It changes nothing." Lyra's heart swelled with both fear and pride. The humans were standing against the tide of alien judgment, not with violence, but with dignity. But she also knew that such dignity might not be enough against greed. The academy was only the beginning. The galaxy itself would not ignore such a revelation. That night, Lyra and Daniel sat in the gardens again, the stars watching silently above. Lyra turned to him, her glowing eyes filled with sorrow. "This is my fault," she whispered. "If I had not asked, if I had not pushed, maybe the secret would still be safe." Daniel shook his head, his voice calm. "No, Lyra. The truth was always going to surface. You only pulled the veil away sooner, and now we must face it." She lowered her gaze. "And if the galaxy decides to fear you? To use you?" Daniel leaned back, his eyes reflecting the starlight. "Then the galaxy will learn what it means to face humans. We are not only flesh and nectar. Lyra, we are will, and we do not break." Lyra felt her chest tighten with both dread and admiration. The discovery had started as curiosity, but now it was becoming a storm that would shake every world. And as she sat beside Daniel, she realized something deeper, something unspoken. The bond between them was no longer just about secrets. It was about trust, about standing together against whatever came next. Far above, the stars shimmered like witnesses to their resolve, and somewhere in the academy, more whispers began to spread. If humans held one secret so strange, what else were they hiding from the galaxy? The academy was no longer the same. The discovery had changed everything, not only for Lyra and Daniel, but for every species watching from the shadows. What began as whispers was now spoken openly, sometimes with awe, sometimes with fear, sometimes With greed, the humans were no longer just students, they had become symbols. Questions and threats all at once. Lyra walked beside Daniel through the wide halls. Feeling the weight of countless eyes on them, she could hear the murmurs behind her back. That is the girl who discovered the human nectar. She was the first to see. Her heart ached. For what she had wanted was knowledge, but what she had brought was division. Yet when she glanced at Daniel, calm and steady as always, she felt her fear soften. He carried himself with quiet strength, as if no rumor, no counsel, no whisper could shake him. Late one evening, Lyra found him in the gardens, seated under the silver trees, staring up at the stars. For a moment, she only watched him. The way his eyes reflected starlight, the way his stillness seemed deeper than silence itself. "Daniel," she said softly, sitting beside him, "do you ever regret it? That your secret is now known?" He did not look at her, but his voice was steady. "Regret is wasted breath, Lyra. The truth would come out sooner or later. I only regret that your world was not ready for it." Lyra lowered her gaze, guilt tightening her chest. "I wanted to understand you, but instead, I exposed you." Daniel turned to her then, his eyes sharp but not unkind. "You exposed nothing. Lyra, you only saw, and in seeing, you chose to stand with me. That matters more than you realize." Her glowing cheeks warmed, her heart beating faster. The bond between them was no longer just curiosity, it was becoming something stronger, something she could not name. But before she could speak, a sound broke the quiet night, the heavy steps of armored boots, the sharp hum of energy weapons. From the shadows, a squad of alien enforcers appeared, their armor gleaming, their faces hidden. The leader raised his voice. "By order of the council, the human male is to be taken into custody for further research." Lyra jumped to her feet, her glowing hands clenching. "No, you cannot take him." The leader ignored her, his eyes fixed only on Daniel. "Human, come peacefully, or we will use force." Daniel rose slowly, calm even in the face of danger. "Research," he said bitterly. "You mean chains, you mean control." The enforcer's voice was cold. "Call it what you will, but you will come with us." Lyra stepped in front of him, her voice strong despite the fear in her chest. "You will have to go through me first." The enforcers hesitated, their weapons humming with deadly energy. Daniel's hand rested lightly on her shoulder, steadying her. "Lyra," he said softly, "you don't have to do this." She looked up at him, her glowing eyes fierce. "Yes, I do, because I believe in you." The enforcers moved closer, but before the first could strike, Daniel acted with a sudden movement. He knocked the weapon aside, his strength surprising them. In the chaos, Lyra used her own alien power, a flash of glowing light from her palms that blinded the soldiers for a moment. Together they ran into the forest, the night alive with shouts and alarms. Branches whipped against her arms as they fled deeper, the moons lighting their path. Lyra's lungs burned, but she did not stop. Not while Daniel ran beside her. Finally, when they reached a hidden cave near the cliffs, they collapsed inside, breathless but alive. The cave glowed faintly with crystals, casting soft light over the stone walls. Daniel leaned against the wall, his breath heavy, his expression calm despite the chase. "They will not stop," he said. "They will keep coming, because what they want is not me, but what I carry." Lyra sank to her knees, trembling. "Then we must leave, Daniel. We must go beyond the academy, beyond the council, maybe even beyond this system." Daniel looked at her, his eyes steady. "Are you saying you would come with me?" Her chest tightened, her glowing skin brightening in the crystal light. "Yes," she whispered, "because I cannot let them take you. I cannot let them twist what you are into something ugly." For the first time, Daniel's calm broke into something softer, almost tender. "You would leave everything behind for a human?" Lyra's voice shook, but her resolve was clear. "For you," she said, "and for the truth." The cave fell silent, only the sound of the wind outside and the soft hum of crystals filling the air. Daniel finally nodded. Then we will leave. But understand this, Lyra. The galaxy is bigger than you imagine, and if they fear one human secret, what will they do when they learn we carry many more? Her heart raced at his words, a mix of fear and wonder. If one discovery could shake the Academy, what would happen when the galaxy learned the rest? She leaned closer, her voice trembling. Then let us face it together. Daniel's lips curved into a faint smile, his hand resting lightly over hers. Together then, he said, beyond secrets, beyond fear, beyond even the stars, and in that quiet cave, under the glow of alien crystals, Lyra realized something greater than curiosity had begun. It was not only the bond between an alien girl and a human boy. It was the spark of something that could change the galaxy forever. The cave was quiet, but the galaxy beyond was not. News of the human secret had spread far beyond the Academy, carried by whispers, rumors, and stolen reports. Worlds that once ignored humanity now turned their eyes toward them, some with curiosity, some with fear, and others with hunger for power. The humans had become more than students. They had become the center of a storm that could shake every empire. Lyra and Daniel remained hidden in the cave for several days, surviving on supplies and silence, but they both knew the peace would not last. The Council wanted control, the Enforcers wanted capture, and other alien races wanted to exploit the truth. The world outside was tightening like a noose. One evening, under the glow of the crystal light, Lyra turned to Daniel. "We cannot stay here forever," she whispered. Her glowing eyes filled with worry. Daniel nodded, his expression calm but sharp. "I know, but leaving means more than escaping. It means standing against the galaxy itself." Lyra's heart trembled. Yet her resolve was clear. "Then let us stand together," she said, her voice steady. Daniel studied her for a long moment, then gave a small smile. "You're braver than most humans I've ever met," he said softly. "And you're not even human." Their plan formed: quickly steal a small transport, slip past the Academy patrols, and escape into deep space. It was risky, dangerous, and almost impossible, but it was their only chance. As they prepared, Lyra felt both fear and excitement burning in her chest. She was leaving everything she had ever known, but she was not afraid, because Daniel was with her. The night of their escape arrived, the Academy buzzing with patrols and alarms. They moved through shadows, every step heavy with tension. Lyra's glowing skin was dimmed by a control crystal, while Daniel moved with silent precision. They were close to the hangar when a familiar voice stopped them. "Lyra," she froze, turning to see her friend Zara standing in the corridor. Her eyes wide, her voice trembling. "You're leaving? With him?" Lyra's chest tightened, guilt stabbing her heart. "Zara, I have to," she said softly. "You know what they will do to him if we stay." Zara shook her head, torn between loyalty and fear. "You will be hunted, Lyra. Your name will be cursed. Your people will call you a traitor." Lyra stepped closer, her voice firm. "Then let them. I choose the truth, and I choose him." For a long moment, Zara said nothing, then finally stepped aside. "Go," she whispered, tears in her eyes. "But remember me when the stars carry your name." Lyra's throat tightened, but she nodded. "I will." They reached the hangar. Slipping inside a small transport ship, the engines roared to life, the metal vibrating beneath them. As they lifted off, alarms blared through the Academy, ships scrambling to intercept. Daniel's hands gripped the controls, his eyes sharp and focused. "Hold on, Lyra," he said. "This is going to get rough." The ship shot into the sky, enemy fire chasing them, the stars spinning beyond the glass. Lyra's hands glowed as she activated the defensive shields, her alien powers merging with the ship's systems. Blasts of energy struck, but the shields held. "Faster, Daniel," she cried, her voice shaking. "I'm trying," he growled, pushing the engines to their limits. Finally, they broke free of the planet's atmosphere, stars spreading out before them like an endless ocean. The enemy ships still followed, but now the vastness of space was on their side. Daniel swerved the transport through asteroid fields and debris, every movement precise, every decision sharp. Lyra could barely breathe, but she did not falter. Her glowing hands steady on the systems, after what felt like forever, the pursuing ships fell back, their signals fading into the distance. The transport sailed into open space. Silent but alive, Lyra collapsed into the seat, her glowing skin flickering with exhaustion. Daniel glanced at her, his voice softer now. "We made it." Tears welled in her eyes, not of fear, but of relief. "Yes," she whispered. "We are free." Daniel leaned back, staring at the stars, his voice thoughtful. "Free for now. But the galaxy won't stop, Lyra. They know what we are. And they will come for us again." Lyra turned to him, her glowing eyes fierce. "Then let them. We will face them together, human and alien, stronger than fear, stronger than greed." For a moment, silence filled the cabin. Only the hum of the engines surrounding them. Then Daniel smiled. The first true smile she had seen from him since the beginning. "Together," he said, his voice steady. Outside, the stars stretched endless. 1,000 paths waiting, Lyra placed her hand over Daniel's, their bond no longer just curiosity or friendship, but something deeper, something unbreakable. They were not just escaping, they were beginning something new, something greater than either of them could imagine. And as the small ship disappeared into the galaxy, the whispers began to spread once more. If humans could carry such secrets, if one alien girl could stand by their side, then perhaps the galaxy itself was on the edge of change. Perhaps the age of fear and control was ending, and a new bond was rising, a bond across stars forged by truth, by courage, and by the unlikeliest of companions.